Hello and welcome to another Rightly Witterings. Cheers. My name's Michael Jex. This is the latest episode of my series on inspirational authors. And this one really is an astonishingly inspirational one. He's written a lot of books. I don't know how many books Graham Greene has actually written. But he has a mixture of religious books, hilarious antics. He's got really quite bleak, dark books. The Confidential Agent is absolutely superb. Brighton Rock, a book about thugs and lowlifes in Brighton, was a stunningly not just evocative but very perceptive in the way that he talked about the different people involved. And of course he was the scriptwriter of The Third Man, which, if you haven't seen the film, you really should, and if you haven't read the book, it's only a very short story, but it's an astonishingly good and accomplished piece of work. But he wrote so much in End of Empire, in the French Empire, the British Empire, the American expanding its empire, and there was madness going on all over the place, and he summed that up beautifully in The Comedians, which is all about the sudden appearance of Papa-Doc Duvalier in Haiti, or Haiti, however you pronounce it. And many of his books were of that sort of terrible situation. So Our Man in Havana, The Heart of the Matter. These were books that really looked at colonial life and how it was fracturing under the strains of so many independence movements, and talking about I suppose to an extent he was a precursor to John le Carré, with John le Carré's books such as The Constant Gardener. The character of the Constant Gardener could have come straight out of one of Graham Greene's books, especially The Honorary Consul. Yes. It is a delightful book about an Argentinian town where a group of revolutionaries capture a fellow who they think is really important, Charlie Fortnum. But he was the honorary consul, and it says here, living on whiskey and his disputed status as the British consul. In this gripping tragi-comedy, Greene explores the far-reaching repercussions of a bungled kidnap. And that's what he was so good at. He would take a situation, plant it firmly in South America or wherever he wanted, really, and he would give you an excellent feeling for that country, a feeling for the people of the country, a feeling for the aspirations of the people, their feelings towards the old imperial masters. And he gave you a feeling for what it was like to be an expat at that time. But he did go way beyond that. Because of books like this, Monsignor Quixote, this is one of the books I'd recommend anyone to start with, because it's absolutely delightful. It's the story of a wonderful priest in Spain, and it's basically taking the story of Don Quixote de la Mancha and updating it to the 50s or 60s. And so you've got Monsignor Quixote, the priest. He's got his faithful steed, Rocinante, which is the name he's given to his beaten up old car. A local communist who is not a religious person at all is his Sancho Panza, and it's a delightful, whimsical and just rather wonderful tale, really. He says, there are parallels here to the adventures of the original Quixote, brushes with the Guardia, a fugitive thief, a visit to a pornographic movie, but the subject is faith or belief, Christian or Marxist. I think that's true. Charming, bemusing, the gentlest, most amiable of his books since Travels with My Aunt. Yes, that's also true. Very delightful story. If you want a gentle, pleasant read, that's ideal. The Comedians is a really good but rather more gutty story. Honorary Consul, can't recommend it highly enough. The Fallen Idol and The Third Man, well, The Third Man is just fantastic. The Confidential Agent is absolutely superb. Very sad, deeply thought-provoking, really strong story. As you can see, it's not a long story. None of these are particularly long or hard reads. A Gun for Sale. Originally this was called A Gun for Hire when it was first published in the States, but really, really good book. A Burnt Out Case, I haven't actually read yet. I picked that up second hand, and it's, I think, going to be an excellent book. I do have this habit of, Our Man in Havana again, very good. I do have this habit of picking up books at second-hand shops when I see them, and they're cheap, because being an author I can't afford to spend too much. So every now and again I'll find a hardback copy of a book which I've already got. I don't care, I'll get the hardback as well, because I like hardbacks, they look better. So there you have Graham Greene, a really astute novelist who got inside the mindset of so many different characters in all of his books. I'd very highly recommend any of them, but as I said, if you want to start with one that's a nice, straightforward, amiable sort of story, then I would start with The Honorary Consul. But if you want something that's a bit more, sorry, not that, I'd start with Monsignor Quixote. If you want one that's a bit more gritty, Honorary Consul or The Confidential Agent. Confidential Agent actually I'd probably say is the best for starting, because it's a straightforward story, it's not very long, and it's a lovely story. So there you go, Graham Greene. Hope that was interesting. If you like that, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it, hit the bell beside subscribe so you're told when a new video comes out. And if you've got any comments about other authors you'd like me to talk about, then please go down to the bottom and put in your own comments, because it's always difficult to think of the next author to talk about. Someone's asked me for Asimov, so I might well go to him and start talking about robots and things. Why not? Sounds like fun to me. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Cheers.